So we are focusing still on the heart chakra today. So what I'd like to do is to invite you to come to a comfortable sitting position. But as always, if you need to lie down, that's fine too. So you might like to sit on a chair, or you can sit on the floor, however works for you. It's just because we're going to do a little bit of meditation and breath work around the physical heart area. But before we do that, I just want to talk to you a little bit more about the qualities of Anahata, the heart chakra. So I just wanted, I was going to say, remind you, you might not know this, that the meaning of the word yoga is often translated as union. It's also translated as to yoke. So philosophers go into questions about whether this means non-duality or not. Are we yoking two things? But the idea is that within yoga, we're bringing this idea of the divine light, which is allegedly in our heart, together with the universal consciousness. So very loosely, and scholars will probably tell me off for this, we can say that yoga means that all is one, that we are all connected. But why I wanted to say this at the beginning of this class was, I think, in these times of division, where it seems that the government, the press are trying to make us divided or to hate certain people or certain countries, it's really important that we transcend that and come together, and we don't take any notice of this division, and that we just have that memory that we are all one human family and we are all divinely connected. And this is very much to do with the heart chakra, Anahata. Now, having said that, I also just wanted to say a little bit about empaths and boundaries, because I'm guessing that most people watching this here are empaths. And partly that might be why you got unwell in the first place, you know, without going into all those different layers. And that might only be part of the story. And I speak as I was going to say recovering empath. That doesn't mean I'm not empathetic. I hope that I am. But I think when we're empathetic, we also have to be very careful to not self-abandon. And that means that we need to have compassion for ourselves as well as for others. So that means very much that we're not rushing out to rescue and fix everybody else at the detriment of ourselves. And it's something that I see as a very regular pattern in the people that I work with. And this idea of self-compassion can be very difficult, because all too often we translate self-compassion as meaning I'm being selfish, or even I'm being narcissistic. But actually, in order for us to open our hearts and to be kind and giving to others, we have to first do this for ourselves. And then that brings me to the slightly more difficult point of what I wanted to say about the heart chakra, is that sometimes we also need to protect the heart. So although we want to be open and vulnerable and trust in truth, there's also darkness out there. There are also people who take advantage of us, and we need to know when to protect our heart as well. So it's always about this balance. And actually, I'm just going to read you out something from the book, Breathe, Rest, Recover. The element of the Anahata chakra is wind, and its purpose is balance. We see this best with our breath, which through pranayama can help to balance all of the chakras, including the heart center. So just a reminder that as well as being open to others, we need to be open and kind to ourselves. And in a minute, we're going to do a practice around a boundary. So having said all this, I just invite you to come to a comfortable sitting position. Take a moment to think about your posture, because your posture affects your heart chakra. When we're ill and fatigued, we tend to protect our heart and we crunch it over a little bit. So we just want to think about opening up the heart. And I often give this analogy: just imagine you're wearing something very beautiful on your heart and you're lifting it. So you're opening up the front of the body without strain. And you might like to just roll your shoulders a couple of times. And then just clasp your hands behind you and turn your palms down. Again, just to lift the heart and open the ribs. Take a couple of breaths here. And then relax. And just see if that has slightly changed your heart position. Close your eyes and take a moment to just tune in. And with curiosity, just see how you are feeling now without judgment. So when I say with curiosity, there might well be negative emotions there like anxiety or fear or tension, but just allow them and just explore them. So because we're working with Anahata chakra, just start by observing if there's any emotions or feelings there. And if you can't feel anything, that's fine too. And think about, what does opening the heart mean to you? Is there any way that you shut it down and overprotect it? I was just talking now about having boundaries because there are dark energies out there and there are people who take advantage. But equally, we want to remain curious and open and vulnerable. So it's always this balance. And then observe how you're feeling physically, again, with curiosity and not with judgment. Judgment tends to close the heart down. So we want to think of exploring rather than judging anything. And see how the mind is as well. And then begin to explore the breath. So again, without judgment, just observe your natural breathing rhythm. And as you're doing this, soften your jaw. Without strain, keep your ribs lifted, the front of the body lifted, the heart open, shoulders falling away from the ears, eyes soft. And then just to check if you are breathing from the diaphragm as opposed to the upper chest, it's helpful to take one hand to the heart, the other to just below the belly button. And you're going to breathe into the lower hand. So the upper hand is relatively still. The lower hand is moving gently with the breath. And let the breath begin to slow down naturally. Because as the breath slows down, you are telling your body that you're safe. And then if you like, you can drop your hands back to your lap, but just continue to breathe through the nose from the diaphragm, slowly and rhythmically. Now, to induce health and healing in the body, we want to slow the breath down and breathe from the diaphragm, but we're now going to do an energetic breath practice. So drop your awareness into your heart as much as possible. Come out of the analytical thinking mind, the head. Bring your awareness into your heart. If you like, you can take your hand there just so you can feel how that feels. And we're going to practice just for a moment or two, breathing in and out of the heart. And if you like, you can visualize on the in-breath that you're breathing light into the heart. Now you can see this just as pure crystalline light, or you can use the color of the heart chakra, which is that beautiful green of nature, that spring green that we're getting now, which is a bit brighter than as nature starts to darken as the season progresses. So You might like to visualize that you're breathing in that beautiful spring green into the heart. And as you exhale, just send energy and nourishment to wherever you feel you need it in your being at this moment. And then take a moment or two to feel yourself grounded. So as you're breathing, you can continue with the visualization, but be aware of your feet and your bottom and your support. So have this sense of being in your body and being held. And then bring both hands to prayer position, to the Namaste Mudra at the heart. And then we're going to soften the palms so that there's a space between them. This is called Anjali Mudra. And as we did last week, we're going to open the palms to give on the in-breath. And also we're receiving. And then we bring them back together. So we're going to do this as a breathing practice with the palms. So inhale, open the palms to give and to receive. Exhale and close. And just try this a few times with the breath. Keeping the movement slow because we want the breath to be slow. So it's like a moving meditation. Inhaling to open. Exhaling to close. And then just pause and observe if your heart has a message for you. It might not, but just listen, because I just want to say that in Sanskrit, there's an expression we use for the heart chakra, which is Hridayam Yanati. Hridayam Yanati. You don't need to worry about the pronunciation. Well, I mean, hopefully I pronounced it correctly, but don't worry about the Sanskrit too much. But the translation is the heart knows. So it's when we become still, we begin to have this sense of intuition and knowing. And this is the light in the heart, our own truth. This is the quiet stillness of the heart. And just for a moment, focus your attention on what you would like to create more of. So I'm going to suggest to you love, peace, joy. You might want to put health in there. And the idea here is that we don't give our energy and attention to what we don't want. So as I already said at the beginning of the class, we know there's a lot of chaos, drama, and separation out there in the world. And we don't want to give our attention to that. So when we come from the heart, we give our energy and our attention to what we want more of. So just think about what that means for you. So before we come to lying, we're just going to do a boundary practice. So something I also said about this chakra is we want to be open-hearted, joyful, connected to everyone, but we also need to know when to put a boundary in, because we don't want to let people take advantage of us or overgive, because this isn't good for our health. And sometimes we need to know when to say no. So we've done this before, but we're going to do it again if you would like. So I'm going to offer this as a physical practice. So what we're going to do is bring our hands again to Namaste at the heart. And then think of somebody or something or a situation that you might not want in your life. that you need to put a boundary up with, and all we're going to do is to push away with our hands and say no. So you might like to look at the screen for this. So hands together at the heart, and then no. And just try that 3 or 4 times, thinking of this situation that you don't want to give your energy to. And then resting your hands on your knees, just sit. I'm going to say meditation, but actually I would like you to explore physically how you feel in your body from doing that. Because when we talk about coming from the heart, and when we need to know how to have discernment about what's good for us and what's not, the first rule is to be in our body, because it's only when we're in our body that we can begin to know how we feel and what is mine and what is yours. And what's yours might not be mine. So it's by coming into the body and having that somatic awareness, that awareness of how we are physically, that we can begin to discern what is right for us. So just see how that exercise of physically putting up a boundary makes you feel. Does it make you feel more empowered, a bit stronger? And then when you're ready, and if you would like, please come down to a comfortable lying position. So you can lie on the floor on a mat, or as always, if you prefer to lie on a bed or a sofa, that's fine too. So I'll just give you a moment. And just while you're lying down, I'm going to read you a little bit more about Anahata chakra from the book Breathe, Rest, Recover, just so that you understand, as we're doing kind of 4 weeks on each chakra, it gives us the opportunity to go more into depth. It's said that when we are in love, there is a special breath with Anahata chakra, with the inhalation bringing us inspiration and vitality. Now, each chakra has an element which is sometimes translated as an enemy or an asura. So it's something we can't always avoid it, but we want to be aware of it. So the asura of the heart chakra is grief if it's repressed. Betrayal and loss can also cause prana in the heart center to weaken, as can living in a cold, loveless environment. This can manifest as poor boundaries, antisocial behavior, or intolerance and judgment of self. Someone with low prana in the heart can easily be manipulated by others because of this disconnection and lack of self-compassion. And that's what I was talking about earlier and why we were doing the boundary practice. Death, divorce, and separation are all challenges to this chakra. At the physical level, lack of prana may cause us to hunch over to protect the heart, restricting the chest, lungs, diaphragm, and the breath, because all these are the elements associated physically with the heart chakra. A sunken chest or shoulder problems also indicates an imbalance in Anahata chakra. Conversely, if there's too much prana, because remember with the chakras, it's all about balance, we may become clingy, codependent, or live our lives through others. Burnout from overgiving, depression, or heart and breathing difficulties are signs that prana in the heart needs to be balanced. And then we say in this book, we've contemplated that globally, we need to live more from the heart and less from the head. In other words, we should live as truthfully as possible, rather from just our over-analytical mind. When the heart chakra is in harmony, we feel safe, we are in tune with ourselves and others, and we're able to listen to and act from a sense of our authentic intuition, unclouded by the antics of a busy mind. For this, we need to take time in silence and meditation every day. So it's about living from a place of sincerity, compassion to ourselves, as well as to others. So just draw your shoulders together from your lying position and then release them. And do that a couple more times, just again to open the heart from your lying position. And then become aware of your head and just gently and slowly roll the head from side to side, just to release the neck. And then center the head. We're just going to do a little bit of a heart opening movement with a chant. So I'd like you to lie with your arms up. So your fingers are pointing towards the ceiling and your palms are facing each other parallel. If you're not sure, you can look up. And we're going to breathe in, and then we're going to open the arms like a cross with the chant. Om Yam Yam Yam. So the backs of the hands come to the floor at the end of the chant. Then we take another in breath, and then we chant the arms back, palms facing each other. Om Yam Yam Yam. I'll do that once more with you. So breathe in your own breathing rhythm and your own pitch. Om Yam Yam Yam. Take an in breath. Om Yam Yam Yam. So just remembering that Yum is the seed mantra for this chakra. So you might like to repeat that 2 or 3 times more, or rest out if you're tired. So just do what feels right for you. Keep this somatic awareness, keep listening in and honoring the body. And just take a moment or two when you finish to observe how you're feeling now. Just explore how the chant, the mantra has affected you. And take a moment also to explore what coming from the heart means to you, what self-compassion means to you, what coming out of the head means. I mean, I think we all want to come out of the head. And of course, the second Yoga Sutra, Chitta Vritti Nirodha, means yoga happens when the mind is quiet, but that's not always so easy, which is why we need the practice of yoga to help the mind quieten. And then when you're ready, hug the knees into the chest, rock out the spine from side to side. And then place the feet on the floor with the knees bent. Take the arms out to the side like a cross. We're just going to do some gentle twisting, but we're going to start by rocking slowly from side to side. So what we're doing is we're slowly rocking the knees down until eventually they come to the floor. And if you can't reach the floor with your knees, that's fine. Or you can put cushions or blocks under there. Try to make the movement slow. And then breathe in and bring the knees back to center. Take another in-breath. Take the knees over to the left. Roll the head to look over to the right. Keep the shoulders aligned on the mat. And take 2 or 3 resting breaths here. And when you're ready, you take an in-breath and you center the head and the knees. And then you take that to the other side. So you take the knees down towards the right, head to the left. Keep the shoulders aligned. And just take 3 resting breaths. When you're ready, you take an in-breath to center the head and the knees. Hug the knees over the chest to counter pose. And then we're just going to do one more very gentle movement, which is so good for the lower back. We're going to do it with the chant, but as always, the chant is optional. So the movement is Apanasana. So we're going to hold around the knees or below the knees. And you're going to breathe in and straighten the elbows as the knees move away from you. And then you're going to chant the knees in towards you. Om Yam Yam Yam. Breathe in, the knees move away from you, the elbows straighten, and then you chant them in. Om Yam Yam Yam. So just try that 2 or 3 times in your own breathing rhythm. And be aware of what's happening in the lower spine as you make this movement, and also in the hips and the pelvis. And then when you're ready and you feel you've done enough for what your body needs, you drop your feet down to the floor or whatever you're lying on, and you stretch out. And if you want to rest in Shavasana, you open the feet, you turn the palms up towards the ceiling, and you just take some resting breaths, just exploring how the chant and the practice has affected your whole system. And again, just breathing in and out of the heart. And then when you're ready, we're going to get ready for our Yoga Nidra practice.